welcome in. Just wanted to let folks know how it went with CJ and I at Princess Key, or K, however you choose to pronounce it, when we went there with Carnival this last year. Wanted to let you know about the accessibility. It looks like a lot of folks have looked at the room that we had, so just wanted to go into some detail about a few of the ports. So at Princess K, CJ, it was her very first time getting into the crystal clear blue waters of the ocean, or like that in the ocean anyway. She'd been like the Gulf of Mexico before, but she had never really been into those crystal clear blue waters, and she was so excited to go. And I'll let you know how that went at the end. But so we went in, and there's the good, the bad, the ugly about what it was like trying to navigate that with someone in a wheelchair. You'll see from the pictures that I'm going to be posting during this, or the videos that I'm going to show incongruent with this, that one of the first things you'll notice about it is it's a tender port. That means that they have shuttles that go back and forth from the boat itself, which will be offshore, to the dock. And once you get, the only way to get onto that, or to get off the boat in this case, would be to get onto one of those shuttles and then go across, and then from there you can disperse. But it takes you literally up to the port itself. And then getting on and off is a bit interesting. So when you first get on, they put folks who are mobility challenged, or folks who are using walkers, things like that, maybe a cane. They put those folks in the front row right when you first enter the shuttle. It's on the second deck, so it is exposed to the sun, so be aware of that. And it does take it a minute to fill up the entire thing, and you're one of the first ones on, so you're sitting there for a little while in the sun. Thankfully, CJ had brought a hat, which you'll see in the video. Otherwise, I think we would have run into some trouble with her. I know there was another gentleman that was struggling as well. But when you first get on, they put you into the groups that are mobility challenged, and anybody like a helper or family member that's with them, they tend to go with them, and come on, and they set you in the first row, or first couple of rows there, on that top level. Everyone enters on the top level, at least they did when we were there, and then they walk down the stairs. If you are in a wheelchair, a scooter, or are using maybe a walker, but in our case it was a wheelchair, and I saw folks with scooters and even like a power chair, they still bring you on the same way. It's a ramp, they guide you across, and then they park you facing towards the rear of the boat, so basically you're facing the people in the front row. That it is relatively quick, and you don't feel like you're up high, and it's not scary. So getting on, breezy. Then we took off, and you'll see that in the video too. We took off and went over to the port. CJ had a blast on the ride over. It's a very nice breeze that came through. We were loving that. And then we get to the port, and you got to think about the fact that you're on this second deck. How are they going to get you down off of that? Well, they have a 2-story ramp. The ramp is fine for walking down and walking up. It's fine for anything powered, so a scooter or a power chair, that kind of thing. For me, this was the ugly. So what happened was I had to back her down the ramp because she doesn't have control over her wheelchair. It's totally me. And it's challenging because it's a little steeper than what you'd like it to be if you're somebody who is trying to push a heavy load up or down the ramp. So we had a little bit of trouble getting down and getting back up that ramp. Of course they helped, but it didn't change the fact that it was just like, I didn't think about the fact that we're on the second deck, how they getting us down, and that's how they get you down. So great thing is they put you first on, first off. The bad part is, like I said, the ugly, if there is an ugly, is that 2-story ramp. Either way, we got off, and then we headed down to see what paths there would be available for someone in a wheelchair. For someone who's just mobility challenged, I don't think it would be as hard, just because if you can walk through a little bit of sand, you're right there. I mean, it's not 10 feet from you. There's chairs not too far off of the port when you get off the shuttle, So you can walk right into the shade if you get there early, which, like I said, we're first on, first off, so that's helpful. You can get right up there and just be right there at the water, nearby the restrooms, nearby everything. And it makes it a little bit easier, but it's one of those things you just kind of got to fill it out. When you get off the shuttle, there is a sidewalk that will lead you, it forks. One sidewalk starts walking towards the main areas where most folks getting off the boat we're going to go. The sidewalk does end at the place where they will have you have lunch. So anything past that, there are restrooms there between where you get on the shuttle and where you eat lunch. So you'll see those. I've marked them on the map, so you'll get a good look at those. If you take the right and you follow folks that have private bungalows, it goes to a sidewalk that will take you to a golf cart path. And the golf cart path is really easy to use to go almost all the way down the beach. The reason why they have it is because they shuttle folks who are going to those bungalows on these big golf carts. So if you have a bungalow and you're mobility challenged, wheelchair, whatever, you should be fine. The only challenging part about that is I did notice that to get from the golf cart path to the bungalows, there's no real sidewalk. It's probably about 3 to 6 feet of sand. So CJ and I actually went that route because we wanted to go down and kind of get away from the crowd, because I wanted to see also if there was a more slim or a quicker or easier portion to get her from point A to point B, which would be from the sidewalk to the water, because I knew that I was going to have to, I don't know, figure out something. We actually thought about bringing one of those kids' wagons and sticking her in it that would go along the beach, but I couldn't find any wagon where everybody agreed that it would go through sand, so I didn't want to risk that. If anybody knows a good kid wagon or whatever, one of those foldable contraptions that is good to go through sand, please put it in the comments, because we would love to have it. It would be absolutely helpful for her. Bungalow number 9 is also where we entered the water at, so if you're looking for a good spot, that is a good spot. You'll see it does have some stairs that lead down to the beach, but it's very secluded and there weren't a lot of folks there. We did walk on down. The restrooms near the bungalows are actually between number 12 and 13, so you'll see that in my video. And then also, we kind of looked at how to get into the bungalows. I kind of investigated each one to see if there was a step. There is on every single one of them. There's a step to get up into the bungalows. The good thing about the bungalows is that they do have the air conditioning in them. So if you have a person who gets overheated easily, it is a good place to have for them during the day. And I believe it's set up for 4 folks. And it has that air conditioner. I believe it has a cooler. Some of them it has a fridge. It just depends on what you get. But the further you go down the beach, the further you're going to get away from those restrooms, which are at 12 and 13. So keep a kind of a mental note on that. They do go in order from on up to, I believe it's 22, 24, something like that. And the restrooms are down closer to where you got off of the shuttle at. And then another set are between 12 and 13. So keep that in mind. We got into the water at 9. There's another path at, I believe, 16, but it is not for mobilely challenged. It is simple to get into. It's the shortest distance to get from any of the paths into the water. So if you've got littles or you've got some folks who could actually do that and you just want a quick and easy way, Bungalow 16 might be for you. It's also, there's between, I forgot which bungalow, but you'll see it on the video. It does have one that's nearby, also the bar. But the video I just kind of wanted to do just to show ease of access and what's the easiest points to access everything without having to do a lot of traveling. Otherwise, you end up having it to where one person is just constantly going after something. And then if you have to go to the restroom, it's a whole nother ordeal. So what CJ and I did was we walked all of that down when we first got there. We were one of the first shuttles that got there, so it wasn't really crowded when we arrived. When we left, it was heavily crowded. And the line to get back on the shuttle is quite long, especially about an hour before. We didn't wait that long. We simply started going back after we ate our lunch, and that was just simply because we did not want to stand in that line. A lot of folks say, hey, wait till the end. Right at the end, just kind of sit there in the shade and don't really get up and go get in the line. Just wait till there is no line and get on. And that's great. She and I were tired, so we typically get there early, eat lunch, do whatever, have our swim, whatever, and then we go on and get back on the boat. But you'll see in all of the videos kind of where things were located at. There's also a map that I put up there and kind of made it a little easier to navigate to, just so you can kind of get a game plan. I know that folks with special need, you need a game plan. Pardon me. And we try to do that. And for this location, I really just had not found anything that gave us a great game plan. So here it is. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Please put that in the comments. And if you like it, let me know. If there's something I missed, please let me know that too. I feel like I covered just about everything. Yeah, except CJ's first visit into the sand. So after dragging her wheelchair about 10 feet, and you'll see that there's drag marks in my video because it doesn't roll in sand, I was able to get her out and get her down these stairs. She had to go down on her bottom. And we got to the water. Literally at the bottom of these stairs, the water is right there. So it made it super simple. She was able to literally, within a couple of steps, get to the water itself. So I went and I put her in, and then I was coming back to get, I forgot what, maybe sunscreen or her hat, I don't know. But I ended up not being able to video any of it because when I came back, she was sitting with her feet in the water and her hands in the sand, and she was picking up her hands like cats do when there's something on the paws and trying to shake them off. And I'm like, okay. So I went and I checked her out, and she did not like the sand. She didn't like it getting on her, the fact that she couldn't get it off. We went into the water and she was okay with it, but then a wave came and hit her in the face. And it wasn't, she's used to that. Like, we go to the pool all the time, but she's not used to salt water. And she got a good taste of salt water. So she has decided that she is a pool person. She is not an ocean person, which I think is hysterical. But she had always, let's go to the beach. I want to go to the beach. Let's go to the beach. She was all about that beach until she got that sand and salt water, and it just decided it was not for her. So she, from now on, will be a port with a pool kind of girl, which is totally fine. But it was a great trip. We had a good time. And like I said, there's a lot of pluses to Princess Cays. I just feel like they could go a little step further and maybe have at least one walkway that goes down to the water. We did see near the nursing station or the health station, they have mobility carts for people who are not mobile. But I asked if, we saw that on the way out, and I asked if that was available to get folks who are mobility challenged into the water, and they told me no. Even though they had several different kinds and it looked like they were more recreational than medical, I was told no. So just a heads up on that. The wonderful, the good, the bad, and the little bit of ugly there. We had a great time though. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.